I ordered that DNA kit as a joke. I figured I'd find out I was more Irish than I thought. Maybe some Viking blood. Something cool to bring up at Thanksgiving. I never, not once, expected to find out I had a daughter. My name is Daniel Marsh. I'm 47 years old, and I live in a little brick house on Maple Grove Avenue in Oak Park, Illinois, just outside Chicago. I drive a 19 F-150, I coach youth baseball on Saturday mornings at Lindbergh Park, and I eat at the same diner on Lake Street every Sunday. Frank's Diner. Booth by the window. 2 eggs over easy, wheat toast, black coffee. That's my life. Predictable, comfortable, quiet. I'm not married, never have been. I had a few serious relationships over the years, but nothing that stuck. My friends used to joke that I was married to my routine. And honestly, they weren't wrong. I liked my life exactly the way it was. I work in logistics, warehouse management for a distribution company off I-290. Nothing glamorous, but it's steady, it pays the bills, it keeps the lights on in that little brick house. I'm telling you all of this because I need you to understand. I was not a man who was searching for anything. I wasn't lonely, I wasn't lost, I wasn't looking for some missing piece of myself. I was just living, quietly, comfortably, alone. And then I bought a DNA kit at a Walgreens on a Tuesday afternoon because it was on sale for $39. And everything I thought I knew about my quiet little life began to fall apart. To understand what happened, you have to go back, way back, to the version of me that existed before the routine, before the brick house, before Frank's Diner. In my mid-20s, I was a completely different person. I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Wicker Park, working nights at a bar on Milwaukee Avenue, taking community college classes during the day, and basically just drifting. I had no plan, no direction. I was doing what a lot of 20-something guys in Chicago do, just figuring it out one weekend at a time. I dated around back then, nothing serious. A few months here, a few months there. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone, I just wasn't ready to settle down. I was young and selfish in the way that young people sometimes are. Not cruel, just oblivious. There was one relationship, though, one that I've thought about over the years. Not often, but sometimes. When it's quiet and the mind starts wandering. Her name was Renee. Renee Calloway. She was 23, I was 25. We met at a friend's 4th of July cookout in Logan Square in the summer of 2001. She had this laugh, loud and completely unself-conscious. And she was wearing a yellow sundress and eating a hot dog like it was the best thing she'd ever tasted in her life. I was absolutely gone for her from the first conversation. We dated for about 4 months. It was one of those relationships that burns fast and hot and then just goes out. By October, things were getting complicated. She started talking about the future. I panicked. I pulled back. And somewhere in November of that year, I can't even tell you the exact date, she just stopped calling. And I let her. I told myself it was mutual. I told myself she was fine. I told myself that's just how things go when you're 25, and neither one of you really knows what you want. I never reached out. I never checked in. I just moved on. And I never thought about what she might have been going through after I disappeared. It was a random Thursday in March. I was standing in the Walgreens on Harlem Avenue picking up allergy meds, and there it was, a display of home DNA kits right next to the pharmacy counter. Ancestry DNA. $39, marked down from $79. I grabbed it on impulse. Figured it'd be something to do. I did the cheek swab the next morning at my kitchen table, mailed it out from the post office on Oak Park Avenue, and completely forgot about it within about 48 hours. 3.5 weeks later, I got the email. Results are in. I opened the app on my couch after work, still in my jacket, not even thinking about it. I was ready to see something like 60% Irish, 30% British, maybe a little Scandinavian. Something to text my sister about. Instead, the first thing I saw under DNA matches wasn't a distant cousin. It was a label I had never seen before in my life. Close family, parent/child. 99.9% match. Her name was listed as Kay Monroe, age 24, location Chicago, Illinois. I stared at that screen for so long that my phone locked itself. I unlocked it, stared again. Parent, child. I thought, there has to be a mistake, a lab error, a contamination issue, something. Because I had never, not once in my life, had a child. I had never received a call, never gotten a letter, never been served any kind of papers. There was no one. But there she was. 24 years old, 10 miles away. And she had sent me a message, dated 4 years earlier, that I had never seen because I'd never opened the app before. The message said only 5 words. I've been looking for you. I didn't sleep that night. Not even close. I sat at my kitchen table until 2 in the morning going through everything I could find. I searched the name, Kay Monroe, on every platform I could think of. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I didn't know her first name yet, just the initial. But the math had already started doing itself in my head, and it was hitting hard. If she was 24 years old now, she would have been born in 2001 or 2002. 2001. That was the year I was with Renee Calloway. That was the year she stopped calling, and I let her. I dug through the closet in my spare bedroom, the one I use for storage, and found a box of old stuff from my Wicker Park years. Photos, ticket stubs, junk. And buried at the bottom, in an envelope I hadn't opened in over 20 years, was a photograph from that 4th of July cookout in Logan Square. Renee Calloway, yellow sundress, laughing. I sat on the floor of that spare bedroom with that photo in my hand for a long time. The next morning, I called in late to work. I sat back down at the laptop and kept digging. I found a Facebook profile for a Kira Monroe, 24 years old, living in the Pilsen neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. And in her profile photo, she had these eyes. Dark brown, slightly wide set. The kind of eyes I see every time I look in the mirror. My hands were shaking. I clicked on her profile. Most of it was private. But there was one public post from 3 years ago. It said, "Still searching. If anyone has any information about a Daniel Marsh, please reach out. This is important to me." She had been looking for me, by name, for years, and I had been 10 miles away the whole time, coaching youth baseball on Saturday mornings, eating eggs at Frank's Diner, completely unaware that a 24-year-old woman in Pilsen was carrying a question I had accidentally left unanswered 24 years ago. I went back to the DNA app. I clicked on her match profile. And that's when I saw it. A new notification. Sent just 14 hours ago. She had seen the match. And she had sent another message. It said, "I think I finally found you. Please don't disappear again."
I sat in my truck in the parking lot outside my office building for 45 minutes before I finally typed anything back. I wrote and deleted that message probably 11 times. What do you even say? Nothing sounds right. I finally sent, "Kira, I saw the match. I want to understand. Can we talk?" She responded in 4 minutes. We agreed to meet the following Saturday morning, a coffee shop called Cafe Jumping Bean on 18th Street in Pilsen, her neighborhood, her turf. I figured that was the least I could do. I barely slept the whole week. When I walked into that cafe on Saturday, she was already there. Corner table, dark hair pulled back. She was wearing a Northwestern sweatshirt and had both hands wrapped around a coffee cup like she was trying to keep them from shaking. She looked up when I walked in, and I knew. I didn't need any test result to confirm it. I just knew. We sat across from each other, and for the first 10 seconds, neither one of us said anything. Then she let out this breath, this long, shaky breath, and said, "You have my eyes." I said, I was going to say the same thing. We talked for 3 hours. She told me everything. Her mother, Renee Calloway, now Renee Monroe, had found out she was pregnant in December of 2001, about a month after the relationship ended. She had tried to call me, once. My number had already been disconnected. I'd switched carriers that fall. She drove by my apartment building in Wicker Park once, stood on the sidewalk, and then left without going up. Kira said her mother told her later that she'd convinced herself I didn't want to be found, that I had moved on, that showing up would just cause pain for everyone. So Renee raised her alone, moved to the South Side, built a whole life, and she never told Kira my name until Kira turned 18, and even then she gave her only a first name and a general description. She said she was protecting her, protecting both of us. I sat there listening and trying very hard not to completely fall apart in a coffee shop in Pilsen. But then Kira leaned forward and said, "There's something else, something my mom told me last year that I still don't fully understand, and I think you deserve to know it." She paused. She didn't just leave because she thought you'd moved on. She left because someone told her you had. I went completely still. "Someone called her," Kira said. "A woman. Told her you were engaged, that you were moving out of state, that you'd asked her to pass along the message that it was over." I had never asked anyone to pass along any message. I had never been engaged. I had never planned to move anywhere. Someone, to this day I don't know who, had called Renee Calloway in the fall of 2001, told her a collection of complete lies, and sent her walking away from my door before she ever knocked. For 24 years, Renee believed I had chosen to abandon them both, and for 24 years I didn't even know they existed. Neither one of us had left. We'd both been pushed. Kira gave me her mother's number before we left the cafe. She said her mom knew about the DNA match, knew Kira was meeting me, and Renee said, it was okay, that she was ready. I drove home to Oak Park in a daze. I pulled into my driveway, turned off the truck, and sat there. Then I went inside, sat on my front steps, and dialed the number. It rang 3 times, and then a voice I hadn't heard in 24 years said, "Hello, Daniel." I can't fully explain what that felt like. It's like, you know that feeling when you hear a song you haven't heard since you were a kid and it just hits you somewhere you forgot existed? It was like that, except 100 times more complicated and 100 times more painful. We talked for almost 2 hours. She cried. I cried. I'm not ashamed to say that. She told me about the phone call. She'd always wondered, she said. Always had a feeling something wasn't right. But by the time she considered reaching out, years had passed. She had built a life. She was protecting Kira from uncertainty and rejection. I told her I would have come, that I would have been there, that I would have figured it out somehow, the way you do when you're 25 and terrified but someone needs you. She got very quiet, and then she said, "I believe you." 3 simple words. I believe you. I don't think I fully breathed until she said that. 2 weeks later, on a Saturday afternoon, I drove down to the South Side. Renee lived in a small house in the Bridgeport neighborhood, a little place with a flower box on the porch and a wind chime by the front door. Kira was there. And Renee met me at the front door in jeans and a cardigan, and for a second we just looked at each other. 2 middle-aged people standing on opposite sides of a porch, carrying 24 years of silence between them. She said, "You look exactly the same." I laughed, the kind of laugh that's half a cry. I said, "You're a terrible liar." And she laughed too. We went inside. Kira made coffee. We sat at Renee's kitchen table, the 3 of us, and we talked until it was dark outside. That night was one of the strangest and most beautiful evenings of my entire life. Strange because nothing about it should have worked. Beautiful because somehow, impossibly, it did. That was 14 months ago. A lot has changed, and a lot has stayed exactly the same. I still live in the brick house on Maple Grove Avenue. I still drive the F-150. I still eat at Frank's Diner on Sunday mornings, booth by the window, 2 eggs over easy, wheat toast, black coffee. But there's a second coffee mug on the table now, most Sundays. Kira and I have been figuring it out, slowly, carefully. There's no playbook for this kind of thing, for building a relationship with someone who should have been in your life for 24 years but wasn't. Some days it feels natural, some days it's awkward and halting and we both say the wrong thing at the wrong time, but we keep showing up. That's the thing. We just keep showing up for each other. She came to watch me coach baseball in the spring, sat in the bleachers in that Northwestern sweatshirt and laughed every time I argued with the umpire. Afterward, she said, "I get the competitiveness. That's definitely genetic." I grinned so big my face hurt. As for Renee, it's complicated. There's grief there. Grief for the years that were stolen by a lie we still can't fully trace. But there's also something else, something that feels cautiously like peace. We have coffee sometimes. We've talked through a lot of the old pain. She's a good woman who made an impossible decision with the information she was given, information that turned out to be a lie. I don't blame her. I think if I'm honest, I understand her. We're still trying to figure out who made that phone call in 2001. We may never know. But here's what I've come to believe. It doesn't matter as much as I thought it would. Because the outcome, as painful as the journey was, brought me to a Saturday morning in Pilsen sitting across from my daughter for the first time. And whatever I lost in those 24 years, I'm choosing to focus on what came back. I think about that $39 DNA kit sometimes, sitting on that Walgreens display shelf, the fact that I almost walked right past it, the fact that it was on sale, $39. That's what it cost to find out that my quiet, predictable, comfortable little life had been missing something I didn't even know I was missing. I used to think I was a man who had everything figured out. Turns out I was just a man who hadn't asked the right questions yet. I'm glad I finally did. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that life can surprise you in the most unexpected ways, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a story like this one. And if you know someone who needed to hear this today, share it with them. You never know whose life a story might reach. There's another story on your screen right now, and I promise you, you're not going to see that ending coming. Click it. You won't regret it.